What is going on? It's the Nail Talk 23. I'm back with another video. Before we get into the video, YouTube, I need you to hit the like, comment, and subscribe button. Turn on that post notification bell while you at it. Today we got a true crime story. We got the mom and boyfriend who violated and mutilated her daughter. Let's get straight into it.
I can't do it.
Why?
I can't. My leg's broken.
What happened?
Walk! I don't care if your leg's broken. You're gonna walk.
Oh,
I can't
what?
walk through the sun.
You're gonna
My leg's
walk.
broken. I just got thrown off the fucking balcony.
You didn't get thrown up. You jumped up. I saw you close the door.
This is Jessica Kelly. In 2016, she was arrested alongside her cousin, Fabian Gonzalez, and Fabian's girlfriend, Michelle Martins. They had murdered Michelle's daughter, Victoria, in the most gruesome way imaginable. Her crime scene shocked the detectives, forensic specialists, and even the judge who read the report.
Involved in the criminal law for over 30 years, and this is the most inhumane case I think I've come across.
10-year-old Victoria Martins was violated, mutilated, and set on fire inside her mom's small apartment. But as the police desperately searched for answers, they only found more questions. Who exactly had attacked the girl? Who covered up the crime? And why did her own mom give a false confession? This is the full, harrowing story of Victoria Martins and her terrible death.
Should be sad, bro. Especially when they kill their own kid.
Today's story takes place in Albuquerque, New Mexico, a 500,000 people town known for its natural splendor and varied culture, but also for its rampant drug use.
If you care a lot about what you put in your body, avoiding unnecessary hormones in a birth control pill was slim.
Victoria Martins was born on August 23, 2006, to mother Michelle and a father whose name hasn't been disclosed. But Michelle and Victoria's father didn't stay together for too long. 2 years later, she had a baby son, Matthew, with another man, and those two also split up. In fact, Michelle seemed to only have short-term relationships, and her parents were witnesses to it.
She's had other boyfriends. The other guys we met, they seemed alright.
But there was one guy who wasn't, Fabian Gonzalez. You see, before meeting Fabian, Michelle was a loving mother who stayed away from illegal substances and did her best to make a living and provide for her children.
Do you suspect any use by Michelle at all?
None. Our daughter never did drugs. She never drank.
In May 2016, Michelle even passed a drug test to get a job at Smith's. But Fabian, well, she met him in July. Indeed, the live-in boyfriend who ended up killing her daughter was a man she'd met online just 1 month before.
Damn, meeting up people online and shit.
In the summer of 2016, Michelle was living with her 2 children in the Arroyo Villas apartment complex in Albuquerque. And on August 23rd, Victoria turned 10. She was a happy girl full of dreams, hopes, and favorite hobbies: gymnastics, swimming, and drawing, especially with the color purple. She was loved by everyone at school, and all the adults were confident she would do great in life. But all was not well with the family. In March of that year, Michelle had called the Children, Youth, and Families Department, or the Child Protective Services. Her boyfriend at the time, David Hernandez, had tried to kiss her daughter. Eesh. But David had a mile-long criminal record: sexual assault, pedophilia, even with his own family members, and the attempted kidnapping of a 4-year-old girl included. How did Michelle not know this when she dated him? What's worse, when she reported the incident to the Children, Youth, and Families Department, nothing was done. They claimed that attempting to kiss a child isn't enough to file a report. Michelle would of course break up with David, but she would go on to call the CYFD 5 times in 2016. Michelle had let some awful people into her life, and it all culminated with Fabian Gonzalez. The two met on a dating website called Plenty of Fish in July 2016. Fabian also had a criminal record involving domestic abuse. He was also a ravenous user. Imagine letting this man move in with your children. That's exactly what Michelle did, weeks after meeting him. By August 2016, Fabian was bringing his fellow meth head friends into Michelle's apartment. They would get high and destroy Michelle's objects while she was at work and the kids were at school. He was the absolute worst, but Michelle seemed to forgive him every single time. However, she knew something was wrong with him too. Her parents didn't know he existed. And on August 15th, someone else moved into Michelle's apartment. Fabian's cousin, Jessica Kelly, who was just out of prison. She'd been in and out of prison her whole adult life, from possession and conspiracy to commit rape. And Michelle just let her move in. A week later, Victoria would be killed.
Conspiracy to do what?
Back to Victoria's 10th birthday. After she had a little party at school, she spoke to her grandparents. All was well.
Spoke to her Tuesday afternoon. I says, how was your party?
5 o'clock, we talked.
She says, oh, it was good. Did they sing happy birthday to you at school? Yes.
But just the next day, Victoria's grandparents were called by the hospital. Michelle had been in a nasty domestic dispute that left her with this scar.
The domestic dispute? Like, she's not with nobody. What are you talking about, domestic dispute?
On August 24th, at 4:30 a.m., 911 received a call from a distraught neighbor.
And the guy's at our door saying he got beat up pretty bad. Oh my god. What's happening? There's a lady that's pretty beat up. I'm sorry? Yeah. Is it a male or a female that he's fighting with? There's two. Oh my god. Who are you fighting? Oh, there's a girl in the house. I don't know, but this girl's beating really bad. There's a little girl inside the house. How old? How old is your daughter? 10. Oh, yeah. She's 10. Is she awake? I don't know. She doesn't know. But the other individuals inside her house.
When the emergency services arrived, Michelle and Fabian were outside, and Michelle was bleeding from her face. Both were beat up. When the police arrived at the scene, another neighbor had reported a fire. Jessica was still inside the house. When she saw them, she bolted the door and jumped off the first floor balcony. She thus broke her ankle. When they arrested her, she made a huge fuss.
Come here. Come here.
I didn't do nothing.
Come here.
There's some no, I didn't do nothing.
Hey, stop.
When the officer got a hold of her, she complained some more.
Watch my car.
I can't do it.
Why?
I can't, my leg's broken.
Walk!
Sorry.
I don't care if your leg's broken. You're gonna walk.
I can't walk, dude. Look.
You're gonna
My
walk.
leg's broken. I just got thrown off the balcony.
You didn't get thrown off. You jumped off. I saw you close the door.
Yeah. Jessica really did break her leg, but she was trying to conceal something.
Why'd you lock the door?
Somebody just started fire and I went over the balcony, dude.
Jessica said that she, Michelle, and Fabian fought after Michelle asked them where her daughter was. Her son Matthew was with his father that week, but Victoria was supposed to be home when Michelle got back from work. However, she wasn't. When the officer spoke to Jessica, a couple of others went inside the house to check the fire. Minutes later, they emerged shocked and sick to their stomachs. Bits of Victoria's body were thrown inside the bathtub, still burning.
You know, I got a text early in the morning from a source of mine who said this is the worst homicide he had ever seen, and that a child was.
The scene was worse than any butcher's. Victoria had been dismembered into several tiny pieces. Even her liver was wrapped in its own plastic bag. What could have possibly gone on inside Michelle's house that night? And why?
Like, come on.
This mistake is costing Amazon Prime shoppers.
I don't know what
I'll
to
show
say,
you
bro.
one simple trick that'll save you
We
a
done
lot of
seen
money.
too many of these people doing this to their
Jessica
kids.
was
It's just
taken
like,
into
bro.
custody on the spot. Michelle and Fabian were arrested a couple of hours later at the hospital. All three were charged with child abuse, murder, and sexual penetration of a minor. Yeah. This is how gruesome Victoria's final hours were. The police had a million questions, and they started with Michelle. She told them Fabian and Jessica gave Victoria methamphetamine to calm her down so they could have sex with her. Michelle claimed that she sat down and watched as this horror show unfolded before her eyes. Even the judge was shocked to hear this story.
I've been involved in the criminal law for over 30 years, and this is the most inhumane case I think I've come across.
The New Mexico community was enraged that such a thing could happen. People were requesting the death penalty be brought back.
They're predators. They're molesters of children. And I'm asking that the FBI step in and investigate and prosecute this case through the United States Attorney's Office.
Here's where things get murky. When an autopsy was done on what was left of Victoria, no was found in her system. So Michelle had given a false confession. Now the police knew they had to start their investigation from scratch. They'd been basing their case on a lie.
The information that was guiding the initial investigation and the charging decisions in the case were based primarily on that statement. And we now know that that statement is false.
As the detectives tracked all cell phone data from the 3 suspects and several witness accounts, they uncovered something else. Victoria had died before 8 p.m. while Michelle was at work. She also died after 6 p.m. when she was seen with Fabian at the gas station and back home. When Michelle got back home, she didn't check on her daughter. She and Fabian went out to buy drugs. When they got back home, Victoria wasn't breathing. At the time of Victoria's death, only Jessica was home with her.
They leave the little girl with Jessica Kelly, Fabian Gonzalez's cousin, who had just gotten out of prison.
When the police questioned Jessica about this, she said Victoria was sleeping with her bedroom door open, and an unknown man came into the house, violated, and killed her. While Michelle was distracted, Jessica and Fabian picked her up and set her on fire, hoping to cover it up. When Jessica spoke to a friend from prison, she was complaining about losing her freedom.
I wish I would have knew what the I was getting myself into, though, and it put me away for life.
Yeah, that's the problem, that you'll be staying in jail. The police wanted to check Jessica's story. Indeed, they found male DNA on Victoria's body, and it didn't match Fabian's.
There was partial DNA found on Victoria's back that didn't match Fabian.
It also didn't match any of the first responders, but it was only a trace, so police couldn't identify the culprit. However, this meant that the murder charges were dropped for all 3 suspects. This left them with lesser charges, though not light ones. In 2018, Michelle pleaded guilty to child abuse resulting in death. The judge commented, "Victoria Martins is gone because of the decisions Miss Martins made in allowing Fabian Gonzalez into her life and letting him take control, even though I don't think she fully recognized just how quickly this was going to go bad." She was sentenced to 12 years in prison. In 2019, Jessica agreed to plead guilty of no contest to all her charges. She was sentenced to 44 years in prison. This didn't sit well with Fabian.
Upset why they got her even take that one. They should have served justice and took her to trial and found her guilty for what she did.
Since her sentencing, Jessica has been cooperating with the police. She revealed that Victoria was killed by a well-dressed Hispanic man who wanted to get his revenge on Fabian after threats had been made days before. In 2018, this man was indicted for murder, but his identity has not been made public. Had he really entered the house uninvited, or was he just one of the many people Fabian and Jessica used to invite into Michelle's home to overindulge in heavy narcotics? Ever since Michelle had met Fabian, her home had become a motel for nasty strangers, sharing the same space as her children. Fabian was charged with child abuse, resulting in death and tampering with evidence. He was sentenced to 37.5 years in prison in October 2022. Sadly, the man who is the most responsible for Victoria's horrific death remains free. Michelle had brought a world of chaos into her children's lives. She dated horrible men with criminal records, overlooking her children's basic needs. Her attorney said she always wanted to be accepted, particularly by a man, and that creates massive problems, and created problems in this case. And even though she kept her own family close, her parents didn't know the full extent of the drama in her life.
There was something going on. She masked it so well.
It don't matter,
and
bro. It's like
such a prolific,
that's her. Like she obviously didn't care.
We never saw this.
The memory of Victoria as a happy, innocent, and hopeful girl was forever tarnished by the horrific way
Like, you
she
shouldn't be bringing
died.
them type of people around
No
your
one,
kids.
let
Like,
alone a
leaving
10-year-old, should suffer this
them there
fate.
by herself.
Hopefully
with
this
her.
horrible story will inspire her mother to make better choices when she's released at the age of 47. Thanks for watching, you guys. Let me know your thoughts on the case down in the comment section. And before you leave, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more.
Neither of them.
On to the next time, and stay safe.
So they saying any of them didn't kill her, but somebody did, and he just free. And they, oh man, it's the mom's fault, bro. I don't know. How you gonna, you get a boyfriend, then you let the boyfriend cousin come in? Like, come on, like, it's too much. Like, at that point, like they said, it's like a motel. Like, you letting all these people in and out with your kid that's only 10 years old. But I can see, like, if you got a grown kid, like 18, that they can defend themselves, but a 10-year-old, like, come on, bro. Like, it is what it is, YouTube. If you rocking with the channel, leave me a like, comment, and subscribe. Catch me on the next one.